Hey, this is Dougie here from Ploughman Studios. Today's video, we're going to go through the new ebook I've made available called Every Scale You Need to Know. Now, my vision with doing this book was I wanted to provide you a resource which will cover you for 99% of music. Obviously, there's a billion scales out there, but these are the ones that are going to get you through jazz, through metal, through prog, through pop music, obviously. And I just want to take you quickly through it today, show you how it works and some of the content in there. And all you need to do to get it for free is to hop on over to the Ploughman Studios site or ploughmanstudios.com/free ebook. But there'll be a link over here. Just click on that. It'll take you straight there. We just want to get people a bit more involved with Ploughman Studios, have them on the mailing list so we can update them with new videos coming out and any studio deals we have going on at the time. So I'll just take you through. So pretty simple book. It's only about 17 pages, so it's something you can print out and have with you. Now, for the purpose of not actually making this book way long and killing too many trees when you go to print it out, I haven't included guitar charts for every single scale, but the most prevalent ones and the ones that you'll see in jazz, rock, pop, all the ones you really need, even to quite harmonically adventurous music I've included in here. And I've given you a resource here as well, guitarscientist.com, for generating some other scales that I haven't provided. So with the document and with that site, you should be covered. But I'll take you quickly through. Now, we've broken this down into the major scale, and I've given you a little bit of a description on modes just to get rid of any of that initial confusion that some people have, because modes seem to be one of those things that confuse people a lot. We do have a video which you can check out here as well on the Ploughman Studios that we did as a part of our Pixels and Plough video cast before. But this should clear it up. This is making it quite simple. It goes through the scale looking at the whole tone and half tone gaps, and also tone and a half or augmented second gaps in some of the more adventurous scales. And it takes you through how you calculate the different modes from one parent scale. And then to make it simple, and this is where I think things really become crystallized for people, is when you learn all of the modes parallel. And parallel means starting on the same tonic. So C is a good one to go for because it doesn't have too many flats or sharps in the name when you're going through the modes, and you get to see from a very flat standpoint here the Ionian's got no sharps and flats. So maybe for some of the jazz people out there, C isn't as nice a key, especially if you're playing transposing instruments. But for rock players, and I guess that's mainly the angle I'm coming at, it's nice to learn things from C where you've got no sharps and flats to confuse you. So I've given guitar fretboard diagrams here for everything in the key of C, or with C as the tonic. So it also shows you here what the intervals are on each of the frets in the guitar. Now, piano players or any other instrumentalists out there, I can't give you fingering charts or for every single instrument, but I've given you a formula here, and I think these formulas are really key to remember. If you can start to think of the scales like this will make it much easier to remember. The way we start is with a blank, clean idea, a concept of major scale being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we begin to analyze all other scales and modes in relation to this. So this is never going to confuse you. No matter what your starting letter is, the formula that makes it a scale can always be reduced to this numerical form. There should be no confusion with it. So in brackets, I've also put which chord and which scale degree the chord goes with. With the major scales, I've put the Roman numerals there because that makes sense when we're looking at it in a very functional way. See the 1 major 7 or the 2 minor 7. These brackets here with the chords, they're very important. That'll help you classify in your mind when you want to use these modes and over which chords. So for example, we look at the C leading example here, and it says 4 major 7. So you're going to be playing this mode over a major 7 chord. Let's have a look at some of the notes there. So in C Lydian, you'd be seeing these notes: C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So the main chord you're doing it over is the C major 7. And if you want to add the F sharp to give it really that Lydian sound, the sharp 4, you'll notice that sharp 4 there is the thing that makes this distinctively different from Ionian. And what you could do then, play that chord, or if you're playing a song with that chord in it, guitarist, you can use the chart we have here as well. It'll show you all the fingering positions to be in C. And obviously if you're playing another key, just transpose to the key you're playing in. these whole shapes will just move up with you. It should be quite simple to follow after that. So after we go through the major scale modes, I've got a little quick note here on minor keys. Now minor keys are very, very closely related to the major scale, because a minor key is when you're just making Aeolian feel like home. And Aeolian is one of the modes we've listed up here. It's the 6th mode of the major scale. So when you download this from the site, just take a nice bit of time there to read it. If there's still anything that's unclear, please give us a mail at ploughmanstudios@gmail.com and we'll go through it in a bit more detail. I've also included some of these auxiliary scales here that are quite close to the major scale or derived from the major or minor scale. So you've got your major pentatonic, your major blues, your minor pentatonic, your minor blues, and something I like to call the funk or the Motown scale, which you'd usually play over 7th chords. So it might be over a dominant, or it also could be over minor 7 chord. It sounds a little something like this. It's a combination of the minor and major pentatonic scales without the 4th in there. So you can hear it there. It works over both dominant and minor 7 chords, and you can even play it over a major 7 chord. Some people would do that. Just depends how you use some of those intervals. So that's a cool one to work with. I haven't included the charts here for these ones. These are some very basic scales that a lot of musicians do, and a lot of musicians already know. But as I said before, I've got a link in here taking you over to Guitar Scientist, and I'll also put it in the description below. Check that out if you want to generate some of these charts for yourself. It's a great resource. After that, I take you through the harmonic minor scale, and we just start it in C, and there's a little bit of a blurb there about how, I guess, the mode works. And I take you through all of the modes you can derive from that family scale of C harmonic minor. And it's got some of these crazy names in here. And once again, in brackets, shows you some of the 7th chords that you can play with that scale. Obviously, with all these scales, the chords you can play to make it sound like it fits belonging with that family of notes is if you derive the chords from the notes in the scale. That's pretty much what's going to make it sound like it fits in there. So whenever you see one of these scales and you want to experiment with it, you can start with, say, this one here. If we're using the Ionian sharp 5, starting on E flat, you could play E flat major 7 sharp 5 chord, or you could play any other chord made up of these notes here. So let's just grab one that's a bit unconventional. E flat, F, B, C, D, E flat. Let's try that. It's quite dense sounding. You can hear I just played notes derived from that scale then, over that chord, and it sounded beautiful. Well, let's take you through here. Once again, I've shown all in that parallel scale of C. I think when you see them all in C and you determine it from the one standpoint and the one bit of common ground, it makes these modes a lot clearer and you can really see how they're different from the major scale. The major scale is something that's very inherent to Western music, so a lot of us have just got it built into our DNA virtually. So I feel as though that's a good way to learn it from that perspective. I've included charts for the most popular or the most prevalent scales within here. The basic harmonic minor shape, you'll be hearing that in a lot of metal stuff, but it's anytime you want to call upon that Arabic sounding or Eastern sound. Now the real interesting thing that comes from harmonic minor is that you've added a sharped 7 degree when you compare it with a natural minor scale. And that creates one of these augmented second intervals, or it's the same as a minor third. It's a gap of 3 semitones within the scale, and that's what gives it its distinctive flavor. With the harmonic minor itself, you get that cool semitone between the 7th and the tonic as well, so that gives it that flavor. you get that gap there between the flat 6 and the major 7. Another couple of important modes there that I've given the charts for. The Phrygian dominant, which is the one that's built off the 5th degree of the scale. So if you just started from the 5th note of the scale and play the rest of the notes, it's going to get that flavor. So you hear something like this, for example. That's a really, really common use of harmonic minor. You hear that in jazz, you hear it in rock, you hear it in metal all the time. It's usually, if you're playing in minor jazz, the chord you'll hear on the 5/7, which is often altered. So in the brackets here you can see you can play it over a normal 7, or you can play it over a 7 altered chord. I've included another important mode from my perspective. This is a cool mode that a lot of people don't use, and you can play it over diminished chords. It gives you a couple of different extensions to when you normally play the whole half diminished scales, which a lot of people are more familiar with. So that's an important one to look at, the ultra-Locrian or super Locrian double flat 7, also called the altered diminished. It depends what you want to call it, but that's a great scale to work with. Instrumentalists that aren't guitarists, I've got the notes there for you. I've got the formulas. If you understand the way the formula works, you can apply this in any key then, because you should be able to think of your intervals and relate that back to your tonic. Guitarists, you really need to think like this as well. If you see this 1 flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, you should know exactly where those intervals are from where you're starting. So you should know flat 2 is 1 fret away. You should know that flat 4 is the same as a minor third, which is here on the guitar from C. That kind of thing. Double flat 7, what's that the same as? It's the same as the natural 6, which is like this. Really important to learn your intervals, guys. Take you through the melodic minor. This is it's a core scale of jazz. Take you through from C again, and take you through the other relative modes that fit into that family there of C melodic minor. And then once again going to the parallel, leaving you some fretboard diagrams here for the most prevalent scales. So guys, if you see a fretboard diagram there, these are the ones to really pay attention to. You'll be able to call on them a lot. So we've got the melodic minor, we've got the Lydian augmented, which is the scale built off the 3rd degree of melodic minor. You play that over major 7 sharp 5s. This is really the sound you hear played over major 7 sharp 5 all the time. We could use that the other scale I played before from harmonic minor, but this is the most common sound. You've got your mixed sharp 11 or your Lydian dominant. So whenever you're hearing like a dominant chord, you also hear that very, very common sound there. That one there is the 4th mode of the melodic minor, and you played over any 7 sharp 11 chords. So when you're doing your tritone substitutions, playing your flat 2 with a 7 sharp 11, you would use this scale over that. Obviously the other ones that don't have charts, they're also important, guys, but if you have to prioritize, the scales you really need to know are the ones with the charts there. So if you play trumpet or you play piano, sorry I don't have a chart there for you, but look at the ones where the guitarist charts are, and that will give you an idea what's most important. And I take you also through some symmetrical scales. These are really important for playing of diminished chords, some of those more angular modern sounds, so I've included charts for all of them. If you'd like to get a copy of this document, please, if I'm pointing the right direction here, come over to ploughmanstudios.com/free-ebook and sign up to our mailing list. And I hope this is a really good learning resource for you. Any questions, hit me over at ploughmanstudios@gmail.com, and like, subscribe, comment. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover here on our channel, or any guests you'd like us to have on, please comment below. Thanks very much, guys. This has been Dougie from Ploughman Studios.